Well, folks, yesterday I was in a recording studio recording some new music when the Trump-Zelensky meeting happened. And ironically, I was recording a new song that I wrote with a friend of mine called Hating Nazis. And so I'm recording the song and I'm focusing on that. And then I looked over at my phone and I had a whole bunch of unread text messages. And I immediately thought, uh-oh, what's wrong? What has happened? And when I began checking my messages, it was friends of mine sending me clips and sending me texts saying, can you believe what's happening? Are you watching this right now? Are you seeing what's happening between Trump and Zelensky? And I wasn't seeing it because I was working on that song. And I was working on that song on February 28th, which was the anniversary of my grandfather's death. And I've talked about my grandfather a lot here on the channel and what an influence he was on me growing up. He was a World War II veteran who fought for democracy and fought for freedom. And I learned so much from him, and he taught my mom and my uncle so much that they taught me. I've always talked about what a hero he was because of the knowledge that he had about our country and what it was all about. So I'm recording a song like that on the anniversary of his death, and I'm already thinking to myself, man, I shouldn't have to be singing this. I shouldn't have to be writing a song that says, I thought hating Nazis was an American thing. I thought that's something we was all in agreement on. I thought that's something that had nothing to do with the left versus the right. I didn't know that was about party lines. I thought that's something that we could come together with the biggest MAGA or the biggest lefty, and we could agree that we hate Nazis. And I was already bothered by the fact that I was recording that song on that day. And then I get that news that broke loose between Trump and Zelensky. And I saw the clips and I became pretty much enraged. And I don't know that I've had any moment so far in all of this, I don't know that I've had any moment that has hit me and affected me this deeply. As a matter of fact, I couldn't talk about it last night when I got home. I needed time to gather my thoughts. And then I went over to the dumpster fire that is X, and I decided to see how they were spinning it. And sure enough, they're spinning it that us liberals, we're taking all this out of context, and if we would watch the entire interview from front to back, we would see that Zelensky was the antagonist all along. That it was all Zelensky's fault, that Trump and Vance just sit there and they just ate shit for all that time, and they just couldn't take anymore finally, and they stood up for themselves. They put Zelensky in his place. I thought, okay, all right, I'll be fair. I'll sit and watch the entire damn thing. And I did. And as I watched the entire damn thing, I said to myself, this gaslighting, and I know we use that word a lot, and trust me, I'm really tired of using that word because I'm tired of it being done to us. But the gaslighting they always do, and the gaslighting they're doing now, reminded me of January 6th. Joe Rogan will pull up a clip and go, look at this person over here on the other side of the building just standing there smiling. It was a peaceful day. And now they're saying, if you watch the whole thing, it was peaceful up to the last few minutes. You have to be a special breed of stupid to not be able to see through this. You sit there and you watch Zelensky come out. He's humble, but he's also standing strong in what he believes. His country was invaded. A sovereign nation was invaded. And Trump's sitting there talking about, we got to make a deal. We got to make a deal now. You're going to have to bend. You're going to have to compromise. You're going to have to make a deal. And I just sit here and I say to myself, okay, if I'm sitting here on this porch and I see this neighbor over here for no good goddamn reason, just go over and start beating the hell out of the neighbor over here, and I see it, and I witness it, and I watch the neighbor, boom, just go over here and just start beating the guy half to death. And I see the guy just tearing down all of his storage buildings and all of his things and just destroying his yard. And then I get them together and I say, hey, to the guy that got attacked, hey, you're going to have to make a deal here with this guy. You're going to have to bend a little bit here. I mean, you're going to have to compromise. That's how stupid this whole thing is. The fact that anyone would sit there and look at President Zelensky and say, you're going to have to make a deal now. You're going to have to be the one to bend. He was the one that was attacked, and he was our ally. But J.D. Vance is the one that really got the whole thing started. Because, yeah, they sat there for the longest time and They went back and forth, and it didn't get heated till the end. And it was J.D. Vance who came in to show us exactly who he stands with. And he's the one that really got the whole mess started. And then that got Trump fired up. And then it all came off the rails. And they sat there and they insulted Zelensky's clothing. They sit there and they told him he should be thankful and grateful, and he should have thanked them when he's been thankful and grateful this entire time. They sit there and they ran that man down, and then their people is online saying, boy, wow, Trump really put him in his place. I knew that MAGA was stupid. But even I was off on how stupid they truly are. And Trump did say one thing at the end. He said, well, this will make for great television. And I said, boom. That's exactly what they was going for. They was going for that kind of moment. What we're going to see going forward, we're not going to see a presidency, and we're not going to see a leader. We're going to see a reality show host do WWE rhetoric on the world stage. And Trump is like Scut Farkus from A Christmas Story, and J.D. Vance is a little bitch that stands there beside him and taunts along with him. Yeah. So that whole thing affected me on a level that I can't begin to explain because of the day that it happened on. The anniversary of my grandfather's passing, and I'm watching an American president humiliate us on the world stage. I'm watching an American president belittle one of our allies who was attacked, who was invaded, whose people are dying. And he stood there and he's fought for his people this entire time. He's never backed down. It's not about let's make a deal. It's about let's make sure that you don't get invaded ever again. And then I find out, then I learned something pretty disturbing. Remember the piece I did about the Associated Press being barred? Well, somehow Russian state TV made it in. Yeah, somehow they just got right past security. They made it in. Now, according to the White House, they were asked to leave later on. And the White House said they don't know how they got in there. Well, once you see where J.D. Vance stands and you see where Trump stands, it's pretty damn obvious how they got in there. It's pretty blatant. And after all of that, President Zelensky, and notice I say President Zelensky, but I say Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. And there's a reason why I do that. I have no respect for Donald Trump or J.D. Vance at all. None. President Zelensky went on Fox News, and when he was asked, after that insulting moment that he went through, he was asked if his relationship with Trump could be salvaged. This is what he had to say. And this is why he is more of a man than either of the two goons that claims to lead our country. Take a look.
Last thing, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Do you think your relationship with Donald Trump, President Trump, after today, can be salvaged?
Can be.
Чи можуть ваші відносини з Трампом бути врятовані після сьогоднішнього дня?
Yes, of course, because it's relations more than two presidents. It's the historical relations, strong relations between our people. And that's why I always began with to thank your people from our people. And this is the most important. And of course, thankful to President and of course to Congress, but first of all to your people. Your people help to save our people. People, the first. Human rights, the first. This is very, very important. And we are thankful and sorry for this. I mean, we wanted very much to have only strong relations, and I'm very calm that we will have it.
So after all that he went through, and after the mockery that Donald Trump made out of the whole thing and J.D. Vance made out of the whole thing, he still brought it back to the point that it's about our people. It's not about us. It's about the Ukrainian people. It's about the American people. It's not about us. And that shows a level of humbleness that Donald Trump does not have anywhere in his body. because all he could do is sit there and go, this would have never happened if I had been there. They all respect me. They don't respect anyone else. No. The one thing Kamala Harris got 100% right is when she said that these dictators, they see what a weak man Donald Trump is, and they know that they can flatter him, and they know that they can make him feel strong and tough, and that he will flex. They're sitting back laughing at him. And I promise you, Vladimir Putin enjoyed yesterday. And I promise you, he was sitting back going, yep, Khrushchev was right. We can do this, and we don't have to fire a shot at America. And I've talked on the channel about how my grandfathers who told me about that quote. So all of that happening on that day was really hard for me to wrap my mind around, and all I can say is that, you know, I know that we're expected to do content on the fly, like real quick, but sometimes something hits you on a level that you need time to really think it over. I'll be paying a visit to my grandfather's grave later, I'll just say that. And to the people that don't realize what yesterday signified, I really got nothing left to say to you.